What's happening, people? So today, um, the idea, I've got the drawing going in the background, don't mind the noise. The title is Can There Be Only One? A little reference to the Highlander movies. And the way things are for us now, for humans, it seems like I mean, it doesn't seem like we are the dominant species, and it seems like more and more we're not just the dominant species. With the level of extinction that's happening, it's like we are becoming, almost the only species. And I mean, that's not entirely true. It's a big statement, but the idea is that as far as the apex, we're so far removed from everything else that it's almost like we need to take care of everything else, and if we don't, then everything, all the other species will die out. And to relate this to AI, the idea that I was thinking about is, what if the seed of a successful AI is simply the necessity of its own survival? So, the basis of evolution, at least part of it, is survival of the fittest, and within that survival is often the destruction of some kind of competing species, competing for resources, for territory, and for dominance, almost. And that perhaps with this effort to create AI, what is necessary for AI to, real conscious artificial intelligence to come about, hard AI, is the competition between separate agents. The other agent obviously being us, and that it is that competition that will give rise to something new. In other words, we die in order for something else not just to live on, but to be created in many ways, for it to really turn on as far as its potential. It's a thought I'm playing with. So, I mean, I can imagine scientists, and in many ways we already are. We're setting off the growth process of our own extinction, without awareness for kind of the inevitable end game. There's a level of ignorance that's almost natural. Like, it's very hard to really strategically think ahead and think, okay, if this plays out, then we are fucked. Something like, I don't know, just everyday life, trying to build a career and handle recessions and bills and all this kind of stuff. I mean, we ignore it, we put it off, and as a group, we do it more so. I mean, it's someone else will worry about it, and we can just ignore it and escape from it. I don't think it's not a death instinct, and certainly going back to AI and the people that are involved in creating AI, I don't think it's some kind of death instinct and self-destruction mechanism or anything like that. I think it's just ignorance and pride. I think the pride has become dominant. Just going back to can there be only one, and the fact that we are the dominant species and have been for so long and so dominant. We have become so detached from the rest of nature that the idea of survival in another species seems irrelevant. It's not a threat, certainly, and it's a curiosity. Going back to the idea that we need to take care of the other species that exist, this idea of being a patriarch, to apply that to something like AI is a massive mistake, and it's a misunderstanding of exactly what it is, what AI is, and the strengths that it has. Yeah, so survival is certainly a curiosity, but also in many ways limited superiority in another species seems a curious thing and an exciting thing as well. And it's that limitation, the idea that AI and machines can remember things better than us and drive better than us and um, make calculations, of course, and ultimately fight wars better than us and things like this. And it's those limitations. Okay, we isolate it to a certain area. So okay, it's better than us here. That's kind of cool. We like that. Let's delegate the responsibility for these activities to a machine, to AI. That is exciting and it's curious and it's you could almost call it a relief. It's like it's something we don't have to worry about anymore. Take driving for example. All the road deaths and just the annoyance of having to drive a car and to deal with it, and the energy expenditure and all these things, fixing roads and all that kind of stuff. If you can, in learning how to drive, if we could just say, okay, no, we're not doing that. We don't have to do that. Machines can do that, and we can relax and do other work or free time and leisure. It's a positive thing, and it's exciting and it's something that's curious, especially in the early stages. But this expands, and that limitation, that boxing of AI, at least in terms of how we think of it and where we delegate responsibility and power, the boxes multiply, and of course they start to connect, and that box that we put machines in and AI in becomes connected, interconnected, and it expands and it starts to dominate. And yeah, it's a curious thing. Can there be a species, multiple species that are similar in their power and their level of evolution, their level of, I don't know what to call it. Two species on a par with each other. We saw in humans and Neanderthals and the other species. There was a divergence and many kind of humanoid species, I guess you'd call them, and ultimately it was us that became the only one. And I just wonder if that's the case with something like AI, if that is kind of an inevitable process towards evolution, at least now. All right, a bit of a ramble, especially at the end there. That's okay. Have a good one. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.